A spectrogram, if you didn't know, is essentially a visual way of documenting sound that looks like this. However, it's commonly
Ew, what the fuck? Hey, hi, hello everybody, and welcome back. We've got some more React content here for you today, and this time we're actually here with Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 ARG. Now, I didn't know that Mob Entertainment was doing these ARGs, but Chad over here decided to let me know. And so we've got an hour-long video here of everything leading up to Chapter 5. Let's press play and check it on out. Let's wait no further.
The Chapter 5 ARG was one of the best and darkest yet, and so today I've compiled the entire thing into a single 1-hour marathon, featuring every puzzle, VHS tape, and lore detail that you can watch at once to learn it all. I hope you guys enjoy this compilation, and make sure to subscribe if you do.
For the record, pausing already, we are newer to ARGs, right? We've done some Minecraft ARGs. We just did the Doki Doki ARG. Insane. Oh my mind was just blown. So now this one I'm told is also pretty crazy. I'm probably going to pause a lot because my mind is going to be blown so many times. I'm new to this stuff. This is like, it floors me. My brain cannot comprehend. Catnap returns. What? When the hell did he return?
Essentially, last week, Mob released this image, seemingly teasing a new ARG for Chapter 5 that hid some potential secrets, but otherwise didn't really tell us that much. However, a few days later, all of a sudden, people spotted an account on the Poppy Playtime Discord server named Seeing Reason. An account that had no profile picture, had just joined Discord a few days ago, and had the Playtime Co. role. A very specific role.
They're going into Discord servers with this stuff? What?
That was only ever given to the Playtime Co. account used for the last Chapter 4 ARG, if you remember that. Anyway, suddenly this account started talking to us, saying, whatever happened to the Playtime Co. account? Has anyone on here ever been able to talk to the Playtime Co. account? Or like, do we know who in the factory ran it? They kept asking about who ran this account from the last ARG.
Dude, this is an online scavenger hunt, pretty much, right? Like, this reminds me of when I used to, like, way back in the day, you meet up with friends, and I mean, I'm pretty sure people still do scavenger hunts, but like, it's just that same feeling of like, oh my god, a clue, or there's like, you got little riddles for all this stuff, and you just find clues, you gotta go find specific items and whatever else, and dude, this is, I love this stuff, man.
While claiming they were trying to get into contact with the account before pinging it, saying, can you see this?
People downvoted it.
Realized that this mysterious account was something ARG related, and so they began to ask it questions like, what date is it for you? Getting the reply, January 20th, 2004, telling us that this ARG and account is taking place after the Hour of Joy in 1995, however, before the events of the game, which takes place in 2005. Next, somebody asked, what is happening? Getting the response, I'm as confused as you are. Somebody then reasonably asked, who are you, to the account.
That little emote for an ARG is funny.
Just call me Seeing Reason, your friendly neighborhood gumshoe. Gumshoe being a way to say they're a detective, if you didn't know. Telling us
now I know.
An anonymous user who is digging into Playtime Co., trying to figure out some of its secrets. Next, somebody asked, can you tell us more about the prototype? Garnering the response, let's not talk about him. Followed by someone asking, where are you right now exactly? What's your goal speaking with us? Where they responded, all I want here is some answers. I hear a lot of stuff. Not sure what to make of it all, but I need to know. They asked a bit more for some intel on who ran the Playtime Co. account and how they hope to help them, before being asked if they had any other questions, to which they responded, like a million, but I don't think they can be answered right now.
I like the idea of it, like this detective talking like they're a 15-year-old girl with the little emotes and saying like a million. Do you have any questions? Oh my god, like so many, it's crazy.
I need to do a bit more digging and I'll come back. Might not be today. I have to hop off this thing before I get in trouble anyway. And from there, for the rest of the day, they completely vanish, leaving fans super confused on who this person is and what their purpose is. Looking
include hair toss.
Profile, there was a bit more to learn about them because they are a female based on the pronouns they listed. And in the bio, we have the cryptic text, byliner at TBP. Thank me, dear, for paradise, which is very confusing and doesn't really seem to have a deciphered meaning as of now.
It leads to a YouTube link. Wait, wrong ARG, sorry.
So overall, we knew Seeing Reason is a nameless female detective trying to learn more about Playtime Co., but also was cautious as to not get in trouble for their research. That's really all they told us.
Super cautious. Just on Discord.
4 hours later,
Discord with thousands of people.
Miraculously, they would come back and things would get absolutely crazy. They first messaged saying, hey, so this is a shot in the dark since the Playtime account is kaput. I'm not the one that normally reaches out to you, but I bet you knew that already. I heard from a source of mine that you're good at putting broken things back together. Followed by...
Hold on, I gotta do justice to this. Seeing Reason walks into Playtime Co. right after the other Joy, I'm assuming. Like, oh my god, everyone was dead at the factory, and I got the vibe that something was totes wrong. So I left straight to Starbucks to get my comfort drink, and I'm here to tell you guys, this shit is crazy.
I've got good reason to believe there's something important in here. Something we're not supposed to see. Somewhere, anyway.
The eyes. It's just
digging. Now, looking at the files in question, they are in a folder named Stuff I Found. And there are two main things to see here. A zip file named Conditioning, and a completely blank file named Lullaby Room. Clicking on the conditioning file, there is something inside. However, in order to extract it, we needed a password.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So for now, we just have to move on. While the Lullaby Room file, on the other hand, is a lot more interesting. It doesn't work when it's open and doesn't appear to have anything to look at, specifically because it has no file extension at the end, which, if you didn't know, on the most basic level, a file extension is what's used to tell a computer what kind of file they're looking at. For instance, a JPEG extension means it's looking at an image, MP3 means it's an audio file.
Blizzard, out of curiosity, are you also in this Discord, and were you a part of this? Because I know you're an ARG enthusiast.
MP4 means video, and so on. But what makes this file super unique is that if we actually edit it and add an extension onto it ourselves, we can actually access
that's cool. Is that even possible?
Inside of this one place. Specifically, there are 3 different types of files hiding here. LullabyRoom.pdf, LullabyRoom.jpg, and most interestingly, LullabyRoom.mp4. First off, looking at the PDF, we are given a rejected Playtime Co. toy slip, which were slips that we originally saw in the rejected toys room in chapter 2, if you don't remember.
Reason for rejection: nobody likes him. Laughed out a presentation meeting when revealing Kick Me Paul. Damn. Rejected item: Sir poops a lot. Reason for rejection: extremely negative reception from various focus groups. Whoever's idea this was should feel ashamed. Management. Daisy, marionette, too scary for young children. Children in test audiences cried during Daisy's performance.
However, this time,
the marionette.
The toy in question
Thank you for the lurk, Esther.
Redacted. We could see a Y or G here, but that's really all. With its reason for
redacted
rejection being poor focus testing, bad brand alignment. Leith doesn't like them. While on the second page of the PDF, we get a little bit more information that reads, note to self: look into related materials, use for inspiration. Though the factory is now a corpse, their wrong side out concept may prove useful. Addendum, useful indeed. Each one an example made, each one a malcontent punished. They will not be allowed back in. So this rejected slip doesn't really hide any secrets in particular for us to break down, and is honestly quite cryptic. However, if you've watched the channel enough, you could probably tell that this is alluding to the creation of the wrong side animals, which were a trademark name leaked a while back for the chapter, that seemingly based on the slip were made out of inspiration for whatever in the world went wrong with this rejected toy. A popular theory is that these little wide-mouthed guys that we've seen
inside animals,
different trailers, and the ones the prototype was experimenting on were the wrong side animals, which I guess could suggest that the person writing this and coming up with this idea was the prototype. Although, to be honest, I don't really have any good guesses, but if
it's kind of the wrong side animals were hinted at in this ARG, on my word, how to forget it. It's kind of weird that they're, I mean, I think I'm trying to figure out where their place is, because again, we've beaten chapter 5 already. They have a few jump scares in the beginning, but I think their place is mostly just to show you that the prototype is still fucked up and doing things, because they don't really serve any other purpose otherwise. Like, they're not really part of anything that we experienced while playing the game, other than like kind of the very beginning. But I guess you just, it just shows you that the prototype is still experimenting and still doing that thing, still doing his thing of being evil and cruel even to toys.
If you have any better ideas, let me know in the comments below.
I got no ideas.
More interesting,
not a single idea.
The lullabyroom.jpg file, we see what looks like some kind of playground in presumably a location in chapter 5, along with a bunch of white lines of what looks like text, which we will break down here in a moment. Last,
contrast.
But definitely not least though, we have lullabyroom.mp4.
This color scheme already makes me think of the videos that we watched inside the small rooms where they were using it to brainwash the children, where you kind of go back and forth and you have all the different projector screens and whatnot. This color scheme reminds me of it already. Remember that place, Kritur?
Which when open,
those are just the small rooms, are they not?
Of what looks like text, which we will break down here in a moment. Last but definitely not least though, we have lullabyroom.mp4, which when opening gives us one of the most ominous videos that we've ever gotten up until this point. Take a look.
Oh, it is the girl. It is her. You see her all the way through chapter 5. She is...
So this video,
the videos, the actual videos that they show are obviously a lot less abstract than what this is. Mrs. Gracie. They're a lot less abstract than this, but I think they're super chilling. Something in her delivery is very well done, and it's being slowed down and whatnot. It's crazy. Look at a normal Kritur video. My quality's way better than that.
whatever.
This son of a glitch. This son of a glitch.
Recognition, and honestly is super disturbing. We see this excited girl, some of the Poppy Playtime characters, but also a few notable secrets. Like for one, we can see that there is more hidden text inside of this video that again will be used in a moment. And perhaps most interestingly, we can see in this shot that there is some kind of character in red hugging Huggy.
Chum!
That's blocked off by the video's distortion.
I would sure hope for that character with the red arms to be part of maybe 10 minutes of the game and then never exist ever again for the remainder of the 6 hours that we played it. That would be bad.
Now, who this character is, I have no idea, but clearly it's somebody new that we'll learn about in the upcoming chapter. They look like they could be a bear or have some kind of fur, but otherwise there isn't really that much we could tell about them, outside of the fact that one of the devs who actually created the character said that it was their favorite design yet.
I love that design.
High hopes.
I do love their design though. Chum is such a good design.
Overall, we have these various different teasers with hidden codes inside of them.
Just to clarify, Chum is now the best character in the game, even though he had a small appearance.
Along with a password that we needed to solve.
Raise that contrast, baby. Raise that up.
So, what do we do next?
Contrast.
Well, in all three teases, there are various sets of cryptic X's and Y's hiding inside. In the MP4, 8 sets of them can be found, which I'm showing on screen here.
Never mind.
JPEG image, when cutting and combining all of the white text.
Oh, that's cool.
4 more sets of letters. Then in the PDF, hidden in white text are 2 more sets.
This is what it's like to be a dumb person peeking into the mind of somebody who's a genius.
Furthermore, each teaser has a number inside of them. The MP4 has a 1 hiding here, the JPEG has a 2 hiding in the corner here, and in some more hidden text, the PDF has a 3.
The hell?
Letting us know which order to put all of the cryptic text in, allowing us to combine them to create this one big set of letters.
The fuck is that?
What do we do with this?
Cry?
The length of the data sets and the fact that they used just 2 different kinds of letters, it didn't take people long
binary.
To oh,
sheesh! I'm the best. Fuck yeah!
The Baconian cipher.
Oh,
which essentially
the Baconian cipher. I do love bacon.
It is a way of encryption where you take a word, let's say hi, for instance, encode the letters into a 5-digit binary alphabet. H being 00111 and I being 01000.
How the fuck did you get that?
Encode the binary through a set of 2 letters, in this case being X and Y. So 00111 would become XXYYY, and 01000 would become XYXXX, giving us the fully encoded phrase. So when taking this much longer string of letters and essentially doing the opposite, we get the letters F, F-I-E-L-A-N-D-E-R-S.
Flanders? The Simpsons?
F-I-E-L-D-S, which when combined together gives us the phrase Flanders Fields, a reference to In Flanders Fields, written by John McCrae, a war poem about the First World War that symbolically described poppy flowers growing over the graves of lost soldiers, often associating the poppy flower with remembrance of the fallen, which also, of course, has a lot of meaning in Poppy Playtime, with the poppy doll, the poppy gel, and everything in between. And conveniently, the phrase Flanders Fields, when put together with no spaces, is the password for the locked file from before.
I knew it. I knew it.
Unlocking reveals to us an image named 11/22/90C patient intake 1188, presumably dated November 22nd of.
Random question for my ARG people. When they release these things, do companies, so for instance, let's say Mob, do they wait for people to figure out the previous clue before they release the next, like, analog horror tape or the next bit of clue? Are they actively watching this stuff happen? And then they're like, oh, they got it. Release the next one tomorrow at midnight or something, whatever else. Yes? Dude, that's so interactive. Oh my God. That's so interactive. Time for bed. What's up? Sakura, how you doing?
Flanders Fields, when put together with no spaces, is the password for the locked file from before, that when unlocking reveals to us an image named 11/22/90C patient intake 1188, presumably dated November 22nd of 1990, related to experiment 1188.
Slenderman.
And when opening it, we
wrong
have
one.
none other than what looks like an X-ray of the catnap bigger body, redacting his face, but also labeling parts of his body.
Why are they
like
redacting
here
his
it
face?
Says what appears to be refillable gas storage canister.
Like, I can see this guy's organs and his skeletal structure, but I can't see his face.
Here it says something about a gas exchange. We already know catnap had some kind of way of spitting red smoke, so nothing new there. And honestly, everything else is far too blurry for us to even read. However, the reason this image is important isn't at all because of what you can see, but rather what you probably don't. As if you take this image and stretch it out a ton while rotating it and giving it a bunch of other effects, you can.
How the fuck are you supposed to ever try that? How did somebody try that in what?
See a set of letters and numbers here. And if you are familiar with YouTube, you might recognize this as a video.
Because why not? What do you mean why? Out of my thought process for these so far have been raise the contrast. Look for small little pieces that you can combine together. Look for little parts of this stuff that might show hidden things that you wouldn't see to the naked eye. But taking the image and just and flipping it and then stretching it, like, what? There's so many ways you can stretch it. Like, we're talking about something that is seen in hindsight, but looking at it from the get-go, there are so many things that you can think of if that's also one of the possibilities. I could stretch it, I could rotate it, I could swirl it, I could do so much with all of this. Like, that's not... this is one of like an infinite possibility of things that I could add on to it. Like, how the fuck do people figure this out?
Specific ID given to every single video on YouTube that goes in its URL. So if you take this video ID and slap it onto the end of youtube.com, we are brought to an unlisted video from Mob Entertainment called Restricted.
Oh, and then we've seen this already.
Now, after discovering this secret, Mob made the video public for everybody to see. So it's not really a secret anymore, but regardless, oh boy, is there a lot in here.
It's a hell of a video.
We see a couple scientists assessing and experimenting on none other than catnap. At first, catnap is notably violent. They ask for his name or just to acknowledge who he is.
Once you scribble on the picture with glow paint, shine it under the light of a full moon, and play bagpipes on a leap year, then you can see a hidden message. Get that guy on the next Poppy Playtime ARG. Chapter 6 has no idea what's coming.
Only for them to get attacked through the glass.
Can you tell me who you are?
Find out.
Damn, he wanted all that
They
smoke,
continue
baby.
Assessing and conditioning him.
That boy wanted that
also changing
smoke.
it. At first, he referred to himself as Theodore, referencing his child name Theodore Grambel.
It would be so cool to be one of the children for like a pictures or something like that, where that's actually supposed to be the character Catnap or whoever, Chum, whoever you want to be, and be like, yo, by the way, I'm in Poppy Playtime, just in case you were wondering. And they're like, no, wait, how does that make sense? It's a game about toys. I'm like, go check out the ARGs, go check out all the lore videos. You'll find a picture. That's me, motherfucker. I'm Catnap. I'm the prototype. That's sick.
However, by the end, when he
I would let everybody know.
He simply says,
Catnap.
followed by them saying the experiment was a success.
Successful.
Ending on a final ambiguous
Successful.
clip of Catnap breaking out of the labs.
Critnap? Hell yeah. You guys have never seen art so good in your life. Wait, that didn't look... Wait, that didn't... Well, now I'm going to make CritterNet happen, because I need a Poppy Playtime emote. We have a bunch of emotes for other games. How do I do that? Opacity of gas mouth. Nah. He just got blood by him. He was hit, and he's on the road. What you really do is you do this, and you go boom, and then you get the black right here. Just make that really big. Put it behind him, and then you do this. And he was hit by a car. It's so cool. It's not cool. It's awful. I want it to look like this. I'm genuinely crying, laughing. No, it's great. It's great. It's great. You guys just don't understand greatness. Let me go ahead and save that. Save as best critter art ever. God, CritterNap.
Saying the experiment was a success, ending on a final ambiguous clip of Catnap breaking out of the labs and attacking everybody. Now, this VHS is crazy. It might even be a bit confusing if you don't look at it deeper, but let me break it down for you guys. Essentially, what we're watching here is the aftermath of an outburst Catnap.
Wait. I want to see if there's anything obvious standing out here that I might not see. So it seems like they make these pixelated on purpose, though, so that you see little pixels and you're like, oh, I can actually turn that into something. I see an I, an X, and an I. F-I-X-I. Fixie. We figured it out. What's up, Kixie? Welcome on in.
Essentially, what we're watching here is
okay, it went away. Never mind.
An outburst Catnap had on November 20th, where he escaped and attacked multiple staff members, killing some in the process, which was first mentioned all the way back in the Poppy Playtime orientation notebook here, written by PW.
Can I just go ahead and say Catnap W? Catnap W.
Where throughout the tape, they essentially
he deserved to do that.
Trying to get Catnap to forget his identity as a child that they took away, likely fueling his anger, and instead have him recognize himself as just Catnap, which we saw was successful by the end. However, what makes this tape interesting isn't actually Catnap, but rather the scientists that are experimenting on him. Throughout the tape, we see a recurring male and female scientist going through this conditioning. And while the female one seems almost numb or emotionless to what she's doing to
yeah, I would say, because you see the jump scare right here.
We see a recurring male and female scientist going through this conditioning.
She just a little one of these, little one of these. I'm screaming out loud and shitting myself live on camera.
And while the female one seems almost numb or emotionless to what she's doing to Theo, the male one seems much more guilty about it. Take a listen.
It feels weird seeing them like this.
Like what?
Like feral? I don't know. I hardly recognize them.
Preston, if I didn't know you, I'd say you sounded like a new guy.
Does it ever bother you, the way they act after we...
You gotta kill that side of you to do this shit.
No, not really. The work's important.
I know it's...
Piece of shit.
Oh. You can't deny the cost is...
All of them go to hell.
There is a cost.
Imagine having morals. That's what I'm saying. Who could think of that?
Besides, if Grace's treatment plan here works, 1188 won't be feral for long.
So we know that there was a male scientist working in the labs who's even given the name Preston that felt guilty about what he was doing to all of the children. And do you recognize their voice, or more importantly, the initial P? Well, to me, it seems obvious that this person, Preston, is meant to be PW, the one who wrote the orientation notebook logging all of the factory secrets, and quite conveniently, the one who documented the initial reports of Catnap's outburst. They even, at the beginning of the tape, flashed this very document in front of our faces, while having another glitch of some kind of email later in the tape that also appears to mention his name, which...
Okay, so I need to realize now, not that I'm going to be the one solving any of this, right? Unless do you guys believe I could solve this out? Because I'm pretty, confident that if I tried, I could. I just don't want to try, I want to let the other people figure it out for themselves. More fun for them. But when I watch these, those aren't just effects for the hell of it to like add to, I don't know, the creepiness and whatnot. I probably should watch these videos in the future. And when I see the static stuff, maybe we press through it frame by frame, how YouTube lets you with the period and the comma. We press through it frame by frame, and then we actually look at these things. Because there is stuff hidden that I would probably notice that isn't super hard to look for, at least surface level, that we'd be able to see, rather than just taking it for the shallowness that I've kind of given these videos, not realizing how deep they go. So I'm learning things from this, and I think going forward, we can probably adapt some of how they check this stuff out for ourselves. So we're not completely relying on other people and their hard work.
It's just begging for us to make the connection that PW is Preston. It even sounds like the voice actor for Preston is the same as the voice actor for PW in the orientation notebook trailer.
No, we're not solving anything, Sekra. I was just saying to see the obvious stuff, because they do hide things in there. So it's like, they wouldn't be a bad idea to not at least glance over it to see if there is some stuff that we could see, not really go in and try and solve it for ourselves, but just check it out.
Happen in this factory that aren't in this handbook, so I'm adding a few notes of my own. I know it's important, Newman, but you can't deny the cost is, well, there is a cost.
So that is a huge reveal, and that's not even all. As going back to the very beginning of the tape, you might be able to notice that there is a ton of binary numbers that appear in just a few short frames, that when gathering amounts to all of this. Huge shout out to Dridgel, by the way, for organizing all of these for me, because my goodness, it's a lot.
Oh my god.
Now, judge from all of the numbers being in sets of
what
8,
the fuck?
we know that this is encoded in 8-bit ASCII. That can be
right.
encoded
Yes,
by
8-bit ASCII,
a
yes.
conversion chart that assigns each 8-digit data set with a single number. Or you can have a computer do it for you, which of course is what I did. Do that with every single set and you get
Raisin, what the fuck?
numbers. But because every number is 26 or lower, we can then convert each one into a letter based on its position in the alphabet. 0 equals A, 1 equals B, and so on. Do that for every single number, and now we have a bunch of letters.
Oh, so yes,
But all of these letters are actually encoded with what's called the @bash cipher.
It's French.
Which essentially
Oh, there's a cipher.
replaces each letter with the opposite letter in the alphabet. For example,
AZ.
equals
Oh,
Z.
that's cool.
So reversing every single letter in the alphabet, finally we are given a coherent sentence that when spaced
How did we
out
get here? Looking
reads,
back.
How did we get here? Looking back on this now hurts even more than it did then. Which is a super cryptic message that seems to be reflecting on the state of the factory and how far it has fallen, whether that be from the perspective of an experiment or maybe even a guilty employee like PW again.
Turn it up a bit. You should do an ARG on your YouTube channel at some point for us to figure out. I don't think I'm smart enough to do that. What I would like to do actually, I've talked about the Skull. I don't know if Skull is here. Jenny, I could draw it up. Jenny is Skull. You know what? I don't know. I've talked about it with Skull of writing a script, kind of like the Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist, and doing a smaller ARG for the fun of it, because I really do enjoy them. Or at least some sort of, even if it's not as puzzle based, some sort of interactive story that we could do. I think that would be cool. I think that would be great. I just I have to get the time for it. So maybe we do it, but I think I definitely want to do it in the future. I love writing stories, and Skull has been writing quite a bit lately. So we've talked about it a little bit, but I don't know how far it would go. But maybe in the future.
And I don't know, honestly. There's a few other mysteries going on with this tape, too, that haven't exactly been explained yet. Like, what in the world is this box thing? Why is there a 21 here? It looks here like there's a glitch where for a few frames, Dog Day can be seen. And we don't know when the ending part with Catnap attacking is meant to take place in. It could be footage from the November 20th incident that preceded the rest of the VHS.
I believe this is just the rooms where we were watching all the different little videos that were on the projectors. We kind of went back and forth with. So I don't think there's anything super cryptic into that stuff now that we actually played the chapter.
Tape, but also Catnap has the white glowing eyes here that we don't see him get until he refers to himself as Catnap at the end of the tape. So
in space with Markiplier? I don't know
White doesn't he gain the glowing eyes until the very end? What is the point of that? Also in the tape, the female scientist mentions Grace's treatment plan, which is something we've never heard about before. What is that? I don't know, but either way, oh my goodness, guys, this is insane, and it's not even all. As while we were solving these puzzles, the Seeing Reason Discord account
welcome back,
talking to us. Somebody asked them if they've heard about the Hour of Joy or the theater incident, getting the response, I don't know much about the Hour, to be honest. I hear lots of rumors. Somebody here asked if they knew anything about Catnap, to which they responded, I know he likes to stay all the way up in Playcare. Supposedly he sends letters, but I've never seen them.
We've already gone over this. I'm uncultured. Fuck you guys.
Interestingly suggests that if Catnap is up in Playcare, this person is not only in the factory, but is deep down inside of it, likely in the labs that we'll be exploring in Chapter 5. And I'm also curious on what they meant by him sending letters. Was that what he used to communicate? I don't know. Somebody asked,
he ain't writing something.
With Doughy the Dough Man getting the response. I mean, I've heard of him, but then again, everyone has. And somebody asked if they knew anything about Mommy Longlegs, saying, I don't think she likes to make the trip down here, or that's what I'm told at least. I don't know, it sounds like a lie. Again, confirming they are in fact deeper in the factory. After this, they thanked us for our help breaking down the files and said they wish they could stay longer, but couldn't. Which finally is where the ARG ends, at least for now.
It's also crazy. Somebody from Playtime Co. saying they've not heard of the Hour of Joy is kind of like somebody like from New York saying they've never heard of 9/11. Like, that is ultimate levels of deniability, or just completely living under a rock like no other. Like, of course you know. Some bibble babble bullshit you're trying to spew. What the hell? You think you're lying to us? Every single person Playtime Co. involved, pieces of shit, all liars.
I've seen a lot of people thinking of this,
even the detectives
that we get for the ARG, but truthfully, I doubt that. And I imagine at some point, Seeing Reason will come back with even more info for us to break down.
It's an inside job. It's all an inside job. Part 2, Guilty Conscience. Okay.
So 1 week ago, we had the first major update to the Chapter 5 ARG, focused on Catnap and a few other things. However, fast forward to today, the Discord account that was chatting with us before, named Seeing Reason, would finally return, but not by talking to us like she did last time, rather by going online and mysteriously editing her profile. Specifically, she made her online status this weird string of text and made her bio this weird string of text. Now, interestingly, if we simply combine the two texts, we are given one working link that, when putting into our browser, redirects us to a Bandcamp link, a music distribution website, specifically bringing us to a full-blown album posted by someone named CatB95 from Michigan, with a bio
WCatB.
Back in the 90s, my dad used to work for a toy company. He left a lot of audio recordings when he died. The album itself is titled Con Am 1992 Mix, featuring this cover art, which is a clearer look at this playground room that we saw in the last ARG. And the album is described Con Am Ambient Mix 1992, digitized from original SA90 compact cassettes, though some samples with the recordings appear to originate from vinyl. Album art sourced from a photograph likely taken around the same time. Don't remember seeing any of this on factory tours though. Released December 19th, 1996, a year after the Hour of Joy. Now this page is very interesting because it confirms for one that the factory does take place in Michigan, which was something hinted at all the way back in 2022 in Project Playtime, but is now being revisited and confirmed. And we get a look at somebody who lost a parent in the Hour of Joy. It's possible that this could even be Seeing Reason, since they're the ones that sent us here.
Does anybody remember what the total kill count of the Hour of Joy was? Hour of Joy kill count. I don't care. This is the children. 272 victims of unknown gender. This says 175 plus. That's a lot of people. I mean, more children lost through the experiments, but I forgot the actual kill count. I felt like there should have been more. Not that I wanted more. I think it's the employee list minus one. Ban that guy. Like hundreds, I think. Yeah, it's a couple hundred is what it, from what I just looked up, it seems to be a couple hundred or so. But that still doesn't make up for the amount of children that were experimented on, so.
However, furthermore, when actually listening and breaking down the
Welcome back,
music that
Mooney.
we get here, things are pretty interesting. I'll leave a link down below to the page because there is literally like 20 minutes of original music in here, some of which possibly for Chapter 5 that you'll definitely want to check out. But
Music
what's
was fire.
About this music
The
is
music
that
was
fans
fire.
suspected hiding inside was a spectrogram puzzle. A spectrogram, if you didn't know, is essentially a visual way of documenting sound that looks like this. However, it's common.
Ew! What the fuck? Jump scare. I was leaning closer to my monitor too. What?
Used in ARGs to hide different clues and messages in plain sight that can't be heard when listening to the music, but when dissecting the audio can be seen. So when downloading all of this music and displaying it through a spectrogram, there were a few interesting findings.
Can't be
In
fan.
the second song, the text DR, FO, and 1J can be found. In the fourth song, the text IVE, LDER, and GBJJ can be found. The seventh song has this long string of text hiding in it. And finally, the ninth song has this even longer string of text attached to it. Now, looking at
Too many
all of
letters.
these
I don't know what's happening here.
People were honestly stuck for a while on what to do. When combining the text, it all just looks like a bunch of gibberish and doesn't appear to match any kind of cipher or puzzle or any other way of decoding it. That is until people, namely the Discord user Drigel, realized that all of the text is intentionally put on separate lines, giving
Shout out
them the
Drigel.
idea to take the images themselves and put them side by side.
You know what's funny to me is that instead of just putting them side by side, people were going to ciphers and whatnot first. Like immediately going to the most complicated thing, and they're like, no, dude, literally just rearrange it. Like, what are we doing here? Shout out Drigel.
Which now gives us a real cohesive piece of
Drive
text
folders.
reading out the end of a Google Drive link.
Right,
when
right.
taking this link and entering it into a browser, we are brought to a folder named System Recovery Data, hiding a zip folder named Recovered. When downloading the zip folder,
Thank
we
you, Sandra.
are given a ton, including 9 PNG images and a zipped up file. Now, the zipped file, like the last ARG, is locked up, meaning we would need a password to get inside. But for now, let's break down the images we already have. The first photo here shows some kind of barrel, some pipes, and some machine-looking thing here that presumably will be in Chapter 5, but otherwise doesn't hide that much. Similarly, the second file shows another barrel-shaped thing with a window that doesn't really tell us anything. In the third image, we see something a little bit more interesting, as there appears to be some kind of water bottle and a cup laying here, while a drawing of some kind of pattern appears here that I honestly can't really make out. It looks like it could be the face of a character, although I'm not 100% certain. In image number 4, once again, we see what appears to be some kind of barrels in a
There's some
dark
text in there. You shall never find? What does that say? I can't see what that says. Looks like Earth. I think it's one of the random drawings from the UV light that we were seeing walking around chapter 5. This whole area down here that they're showing the pictures for just seemed like that basement like hook area with like the conveyor line that we were going through. What is that? You shall never find something.
Ambiguous room with little more.
More hooks. It is the hooks. It is the hooks. Okay. Yeah, it's just where you see all the wrong side outs. I forgot what the fuck they're called. Boom. Oh, well, duh. Okay. All I had to do was wait it for a second, and they were going to confirm that. And that's one of the outside wrong
I don't know
doohickey
exactly
things.
how, but if you see something here, let me know in the comments below, because I really don't. The most interesting part about this file, though, is in the last 4 images, as they show some kind of written letter taking place a few days after the Hour of Joy that tell us quite a bit. August 11th. If anyone is left, they must be few and far between. We haven't seen a single living
Giblet,
soul
was it?
besides our experiments. They're organized, and we've been hearing increasingly concerning noises coming from a few rooms over. I have no idea what they're doing, and I'd rather not stick around to find out.
Looks like my handwriting that caught me off guard. Mooney, where were you back in 2004 in relation to the place known as Playtime Co? I'm not telling. Intelligent human being we got here. That was Giblet. He has a purple eye. Oh, I was gonna say, because how do we know it's not one of the other guys doing things, whatever? But it's just Giblet. Okay.
August 12th, the Poppy doll saw us. All 3 of us. We froze like deer in headlights, waiting for her to scream for something larger to come tear us to pieces. We begged her not to. She looked tired, like she'd been crying. Guilt, perhaps?
Wow.
Something else? She said she couldn't promise somebody else wouldn't find us here, adding that if anyone grilled her, she'd have to tell them or there'd be quote-unquote consequences. If that doesn't happen, she said, she'll pretend she never saw us. She's always struck me as a strange one. I don't trust her, but I suppose we don't have a choice. Unknown date. Decided to find another spot after our run-in with Poppy. Lost count of the days. No clocks where we are right now. No sun to tell time by. Circadian rhythm feels shot. Everything is one long blurring night, and we're always tired. And hungry, but that's a separate issue. What I don't understand is why the experiments are still down here. Why don't they just leave? Another unknown date. Something is inside the walls. It's the same sound as before, but it's closer now. Supplies
It's in your
low,
walls.
tired, can't stay here. Then somebody that came across the note added to it, saying, can't believe I found this thing after all this time. I wonder if you're still around here somewhere so I can return it to you. Who am I kidding? I found your name tag too. Put it back in your desk because it just seemed like the right thing to do. I know you cared. I know you tried. Sorry things turned out this way, Dr. Willard. Now guys, this is
That was
absolutely
Poppy's,
insane,
right?
Because for one, we're learning here that there were actually some kind of survivors of the Hour of Joy that were stuck inside,
Just
logging
stuck.
down what
Done.
was
In my
happening
walls,
around
in your
them.
skin
They
too.
even had
In your
me
eyeballs.
running
They're in your eyelids. Get them out of your eyelids.
with Poppy, who at this time must have been free before being put into her case, and was roaming around the factory, albeit scared and seemingly guilty. And speaking of Poppy, while I don't really know what to make of this for now, I do find it very interesting that for some reason PW couldn't bring himself to trust her. I'm really curious on why that is.
Got bugs in my eyes. I got bugs in my skin. Playtime coves in your walls. Sorry things turned out this way, Dr. Willard. So I believe, dude, I'm trying to talk, Mr. Lore person. I believe from what we know from the lore, I thought Poppy was the one who found the name tag when she felt bad. Because we knew Poppy was free to roam around, but they realized she was kind of being, or the prototype himself realized she was being nice to humans and then locked her away. But I could have sworn, but this wouldn't be her handwriting, right? I don't think so, at least. What that mean, though? I don't know what we're referring to, what that mean. Probably found it buried back as a burial. Yeah, that's what I remember seeing from the lore. So it's like, was she writing in this? We know Poppy is not, she's not evil. She doesn't hate the people. Not all of them, at least. She cares more about the toys, though. She would much rather take the toy side for obvious reasons than ever take the scientist side. She wants everybody to live. She wanted everybody to live happily ever after, but that just, didn't happen. Hour of Joy plot twist was not joyful at all. Lots of people died. So
things turned out this way, Dr. Willard. Now, you might not recognize Dr. Willard, but oh boy are they important. Because a couple days before this update,
Mr. Willard!
the last ARG VHS tape with Catnap, the devs at some point updated the description of the video to give credits to the scientist actors who played as Dr. Jessica Newman, the female, and most interestingly, Preston Willard, confirming the dude in this tape, as we suspected, was in fact PW.
P-dub. Kritur dub.
Meaning that, unlike popular theories suggest, he actually isn't the player, and instead was just one of the many casualties of the Hour of Joy. But now you're probably wondering, if PW is confirmed dead after all this time, then what exactly happened to him? Well, we still had one more file, the password locked file. And going back to the seemingly meaningless teaser photos in the recovered folder, 2 of them actually hide some interesting hidden text. This one here at the bottom left, we can find the words,
when you seek,
what you seek, while in this image here, we can find the words, you shall never find. Now, at first, this set of words doesn't really tell us that much, even when put together. However, when researching the phrase itself, it is—
Wouldn't it be backwards? You shall never find what you seek? Unless you're going, what you seek, you shall never find. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't part of the theories that talked about Willard being the main character. I feel like they've lost whatever pathway they were trying to take that character for who we are and whatnot. I feel like they don't know where to tie it all in. I think it started with us just being a random person. Like, we used to work there or whatever, but I don't think they know where to go with that. Because the Willard thing, I mean, fell through obviously, but somebody told me they've been working on chapter 5 for 5 years. And I'm like, I hope not. It was kind of a nothing burger plot-wise. There wasn't a whole lot of twists and whatnot. But still, I feel like they've kind of lost track of where they wanted this character to go. And they're having some hard time tying it in. Because we just got murdered by the prototype, for the record. Got murdered by the prototype and then just brought back to life? So, what the fuck are we? What is we? Trying to be poetic? Geez, I guess so, I guess.
Often associated with the poem, The Epic of Gilgamesh, an ancient poem that detailed the character Gilgamesh attempting to find immortality, only to learn that death is an imminent part of human life, and no matter how far he looked, immortality was never found, and his solution was actually just to accept death rather than try to escape it. Now, this poem could certainly have some implications related to the lore, especially
now we know.
With the whole escaping mortality thing.
Yeah.
Since after all, it's been suggested in the lore that a big reason for all of this experimentation going on was so that way the factory participants could figure out how to live forever as a toy.
That's what it is. That is what it is.
The character Gilgamesh happened to be the password for the locked up file from before. When unlocking and opening the file named Play, we are given this image of a Playtime Co computer that appears to be an unblurred version of this image that we saw during the Catnap VHS tape. What we see here is PW sending an email to Stella Graber with the subject, "End of my rope," telling her, "We need to talk. Do you feel the same?" Now, what exactly is PW talking about with Stella here?
I'm assuming this leads up into us actually starting or indulging in the beginning of the Hour of Joy.
Well, hang on to that question.
Makes sense.
If we take this image and stretch it out a bit while applying some effects, we could find a set of letters and numbers right here.
Okay, so I'm realizing now there's just there's like a set key list that you'll just go through for what ARG's for. The first time I ever saw the stretching thing, I thought that's insane. But I imagine everybody just has bulletin points are for what to go through whenever they see these images, and they just kind of go through until one of them eventually works. So okay, now I'm realizing it's not anything too special out of the ordinary,
which, like what happened in the Catnap image in the last video, is a YouTube ID. Attach it to the end of youtube.com, and just like that, we are brought to a brand new VHS
Let's go!
titled
We saw that one!
Condemnation 1995. Now, the video essentially documents the survival of two scientists after the Hour of Joy, PW or Preston Willard.
I hate the word casualties. What do you mean casual? I don't know. It's not a big deal. Did you see how these toys killed? Prototype killed everybody. No big deal. It's about being nonchalant here in 2026. We don't care too much about anything. Just be chill when you kill somebody, you know? Relax. I know the answer, but I don't remember. What does ARG stand for? ARG mean? Artificial Remember Game. No, I have zero clue. I forgot what it is. Articulate. I don't know. I completely forgot. I have zero clue. Somebody else can answer that. Sorry. Not very smart. Alternate reality game.
And Jessica Newman, the ones from the Catnap VHS tape, of course, who we hear discussing the Hour of Joy and their lives, at least until the end where things go sour. And going scene by scene, the tape starts off by showing off this weird baseball device thing that you might recognize was hiding in a couple previous art teasers from a few months ago that makes a reappearance here for a reason that I don't know, while the sounds of the Hour of Joy ring throughout the labs. Then we cut to August 8th at 14:07, a few hours after the Hour of Joy. We get this shot of the aftermath in the labs while we hear
blood
these two
everywhere.
scientists talking to each other.
Things are quiet up there. Not sure if that's good or bad.
Someone will come for us.
Yeah, someone, all right.
Jessica,
They'll send a team, specialist probably.
No. Someone's going to come for you. Not a special team, though. I'll tell you that.
It's going to be one hell of a cleanup operation.
The tape flashes to August
I'm glad she
13th,
died.
1995,
I'm glad she died. I'll say it.
A couple days later,
She deserved
we
it.
see them mapping out a potential escape from the factory. While they discuss, over on one of the lab's cameras, we see some mysterious creature roaming throughout the area. Fast forwarding to August 18th, 10 days after the Hour of Joy, the two reflect on what will happen if they escape the factory alive.
Once we're out, where will you go?
well, I suppose I'd owe my wife a few explanations, wouldn't I? Not that that makes up for anything.
At least you have a life to go back to.
Talk
Growing up
louder.
in Play care, running back as soon as I had my degree.
Talk louder.
My entire life was here.
That's,
Sad.
Talk louder,
I never
please.
thought about it that way. Not until this.
What if we started yelling?
Suddenly, PW starts to get a wave of guilt as he says,
well, maybe this is what we get. All we've done for...
He begins to reflect on past documents and images that we've seen before in the past, and at first, Jessica tries to comfort him on his guilt he felt, saying that he did a good job, at least until he had something to admit to her.
Preston, you don't need to.
I just couldn't stand by and watch it happen anymore.
What are you saying?
I had no other choice.
You let them. You let them. And you didn't think we would do something like this? Tell me this is some kind of joke. My God, how could you do that?
Not just me, there were others, and we all knew this wasn't right.
He confirms here that he and quote-unquote other people, being Stella Graber, as we saw in this email image, had intentionally let out the experiments to cause the Hour of Joy. Now, this explains so much about why PW is important and how the Hour of Joy happened. There was apparently a group of people, at least including Stella and PW, that responded to the experimentation happening by letting all of the monsters out and having them destroy the factory along with everyone inside of it. Now, while this is an insane detail, obviously Jessica wasn't too happy about this and began to argue with him, but they were quickly interrupted.
Taken care of.
So that appears to be Huggy breaks down the door that was barricading them off, and they quickly run away. We get a few shots of PW panicking as he tries to escape, only for him to lose Jessica, and while the Huggy noises seemingly faded behind him, he quickly ran into a different kind of creature that knocked him down and grabbed onto him, presumably killing him, which was where the tape ends. Now, outside of this absolutely massive reveal that the Hour of Joy was a planned action by certain employees in the factory, there's also a couple other notable things here. Like, for one, Jessica said that she had no real friends or family as she had grown up inside of Playcare.
No, it's because you're a piece of shit. Just want to toss it out there. I know it's a fictional character, but I just want to toss that out there. Piece of shit.
Only to come back as a scientist. This likely explains why she was so numb to the idea of experimenting on these toys, since after all, she never grew up with a real idea on how mortals were meant to work. She's lived around Playtime Co. all her life after all. Furthermore, in this shot, we see what looks like some kind of map of the labs that has a couple notable things. They label the Playcare and the shelf, which is kind of like the code name for the prison, and other more ambiguous stuff. Like here we could see what looks like a house, and over here we see some text that says avoid. I don't know how accurate this is to the labs we'll see in game, but I'm curious to see what's in that room if it is. While of course the big reveal at the end is that we see PW run into an entirely new character who, going frame by
Would it be
frame,
Chum?
appears to have a large body.
Oh, it is Chum. So Chum murders this guy. That's crazy. I mean, it looks like it would be his eyes offset right there. The little bulge that's sticking out like right here. Yeah. Looks like it would be that. And then the other one's just a tiny bit higher. So it is Chum. It has to be, right? Super fluffy hand and then really weird head. You know what? I forgive Chum for this because Chum's the GOAT. You're right. Chum is the GOAT.
A thin neck at the top and head area. And
we love
also
Chum.
The hand is very furry.
We love Chum.
We
love Chum.
It's meant to be the red character seen from the
okay, makes sense.
commercial in the last ARG.
Maybe Preston is alive? No. Preston is long dead. Preston, Chum wanted to kill us, for the record. Chum is sweet right now, but only because of Mr. Gibble, you know, being nice to us. But Chum wanted to murder us. He did growl at us. He also has a crazy mouth, so.
Conveniently only
I also think Preston is alive.
That tape, and
I hope Preston's not alive.
A good look at the beast is in their hand.
I hope Preston's not alive, because then it confirms my suspicion that they don't know how to kill off a character. They keep bringing people back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And oh, surprise twist, this person's also alive. This person's also alive. No, kill these people. Let them die. Let this shit mean something. That his own hubris kills this man, or his own ignorance of how these toys felt towards him. Let him die. He didn't think it was going to turn to this. Like, he knew what he was doing was bad, but he wasn't smart enough to know that what he was doing to them was making them want vengeance. You know, come on. Did Chum kill him? Remember, he hit us in his mouth. Is he really going to stay out there that long? No food, no nut. Like, it's such a long time, you know, to keep him down there. I guess maybe he could have gotten out, but what if? So I guess if the other alternative is he stays alive, Chum didn't kill him, keeps him alive because he thinks he can help, then there is a chance that we are playing as Preston. If we think that Chum did not kill him here. Unless he got to the surface. As I say, he could have gotten to the surface and then came back. So it could be Preston. I definitely think he's dead, just maybe not at that moment. I would sooner believe he's dead. But there's also still the chance, as you mentioned, Chum puts us in his mouth, keeps us alive. Somehow we get out to the surface and we come back after escaping to settle things once and for all. And that's why we have such a big tie to this. Because we know all the details of it. And now that I'm saying that out loud, I actually don't mind it all too much. So
I think they're definitely trying to call reference to each other, and they physically appear similar as well. This makes me believe
What's up,
that
Lucas?
this
Welcome.
beast will be one of the lab's main enemies, if that wasn't obvious already, along with Huggy, and that this chapter will, in a lot of ways, be a retelling of what we're seeing in this VHS tape, running from all of the surviving experiments that lurked Playtime Co. Plus, who knows, if this is a real location that ends up being in the game, we could even see the remaining body of PW, at least least if he wasn't already eaten. Now, I'm still left with a couple of questions here. Not everything is answered. Like, in this note, PW says that there were 3 of them that survived the Hour of Joy, while in the tape, we only see himself and Jessica. I'm not exactly sure
They
why.
ate him.
I also wonder
They
who the
ate
person
him.
that wrote in this red text was. Clearly, it was an employee that knew PW because they put their name tag back in their desk, so obviously they'd have to know them. A good theory I've seen is that maybe Jessica survived the attack and ended up coming across his body later. I've also seen people say it looks a lot like the handwriting from the original note that we got in chapter 1, so maybe they could be the same writer. I'm not exactly sure. Plus, speaking on the two, when PW and Jessica Newman were arguing about the ethics of letting all the experiments out, he very clearly seemed surprised about everything that happened, like he wasn't expecting all of the toys to go rogue and kill everyone. So now I'm left wondering what his actual goal with the Hour of Joy was. Did he just want someone to find the experiments and report them to police? Did he only want them to kill a few? I'm not exactly sure, especially when this ended with him seemingly dying. Although some people deny that, because I've seen a lot of people theorizing that PW maybe didn't die. They alluded to it, but never explicitly said it, so maybe somehow he escaped, or maybe he even got turned into some kind of experiment. That would make sense as well. Also, at the forefront of this VHS tape, at the very
it's
beginning, and
Gibble's
in the thumbnail
thing.
is this weird baseball device.
What even is that? Did we find out what that is in chapter 5? Or am I just... What, he holds it all the time. What does he do with it? A taser thing. It's how he revived us. Right. Really? Okay. I guess it has like a little lightning bolt on it. I just thought it was more for some reason. I was wondering. I don't know.
When are we gonna learn what this is? I assume it's gonna be some kind of gameplay mechanic we're going to pick up inside of the lab.
No.
But to be honest, despite us finally seeing it, we know basically nothing.
It's pretty much just useless. So.
But once again, guys, this is where we sit today.
I guess it brought us to life, but still.
ARG updates are going to come weekly up until Chapter 5's release, since both updates thus far have come on Wednesdays, 1 week. The common belief is that these ARG updates are going to come weekly up until Chapter 5's release, since both updates thus far have come on Wednesdays, 1 week apart, which is also the same day that Chapter 5 releases, meaning we will likely have more info in a week's time.
What? The end. We know that guy.
So, as you guys probably already know, over on the Poppy Playtime Discord server, there's been this mysterious account named Seeing Reason.
Never heard of it.
That's come active every week or so to reveal secrets. And like clockwork, today she finally made her long-anticipated return in a very interesting way. First, she messaged us letting us know she was back, saying, hey, me again.
Hey.
Wherever you are in this place.
Got my Starbies.
Well. Looks like you've been busy. I've been poring over your findings, and it's given me a lot to think about. I can't thank you enough for that. There's just one last piece I need help with. Then I'll let you be. I'm getting it ready right now. Naturally, people began to ask Seeing Reason some more questions, and she did give a couple of responses. Like, for instance, somebody asked her if she was doing okay, getting the response, "Yeah, I'm okay. I don't go around making waves, and that's helped me stay out of trouble so far." While most interestingly, somebody asked her what her relation with Poppy was like, to which she said, I mean, is she any better than Prototype? That's not rhetorical. What Prototype has done, I have a hard time looking past it. I don't know.
Why do they type like this? I feel like we could have been a little bit more in character with like how a detective would type or something like that. Is she any better than the Prototype? That's not rhetorical. Why would she be worse than the Prototype? What has Poppy done that is worse than the Prototype? And I still stand by the idea of Poppy destroying the entire factory and all the toys with it is still better than what the Prototype is doing. As much as it is messed up to technically just kill and murder thousands of toys, it's just it's half of the suffering that it will prevent is worth, I think, the greater good. The greater good, I think, is better. Was there a detective toy in like chapter 3? I don't think so. I don't know, maybe, I don't know.
Now, this is very interesting because we've heard other people like the Doctor in Chapter 4 mimic this similar statement that Poppy might not be as innocent as she portrays, especially when it comes to the Hour of Joy. And while we don't really know why for now, this is definitely something to keep in our back pocket, because I'd assume in this chapter we'll finally learn what kind of skeletons she might be hiding in.
Nope, you don't learn anything. Nope, chapter 5 literally teaches you nothing about the plot other than the prototype is still experimenting. Congratulations, chapter 5, you did it.
Her closet that we still aren't aware of. Now, sadly, that's all she answered for us, but after this, she sent over one last file she was needing help accessing, being a zip file named Salvation. Now, we will discuss this file in a moment, but before she could leave us with this, she said she had more to share with us, only to be interrupted by none other than the Playtime Co. Discord account, which was controlled by another mysterious participant in the Chapter 4 ARG who made their return here, saying, "I am addressing you, seeing reason." She responded, "Who is this?" Playtime Co. said, "The individuals you've been conversing with, in other words us, cannot be trusted. They are a known threat to us. Or have you forgotten?"
See, I like the difference in how the text is portrayed here versus what the other account is doing. I like this much more. It seems a lot more ominous rather than just a 16-year-old girl with Starbucks in her hand tweeting out or something, you know?
Seeing responded,
oh, yeah, see? Like,
no. Playtime said, "I see."
See, that, I don't know. There's just, the typing does a lot. The typing does a lot.
Writing what looks like a script, removing Seeing Reason's ability to see and chat with us for any longer. With them then finally speaking to us, saying, "Your attempts to undermine my work have not gone unnoticed. Congratulations, you now have my attention.
Ominous.
Remember though,
Spooky.
your defiance has a price. The work will continue. You cannot stop it." Now, I should mention that it's believed that this account is ran
the Doctor,
by Harley
yeah.
Sawyer or possibly the Prototype,
The Doctor!
especially since they seem to be focused on keeping their quote-unquote work continuing, which was something that Harley especially was passionate about. And even though he eventually died, this ARG takes place in 2004, so he's still alive. But regardless of who it is, Seeing Reason was now gone. She left us this one file. However, when trying to open it, of course, it was password locked. And before she could send any of the other files to help us, she was removed. So now what do we do? Well, while she
combine
was
everything
gone
you
from the
had.
server, she actually chose to take matters into her own hands and began to instead start direct messaging people inside of the server with little cryptic images.
That's
like
cool.
This one, asking them to share it. Now, over the next few minutes, dozens of people began to get these various images by Seeing Reason that
that's
were all
sick.
slightly different. And as people began to receive more and more of them, it became clear that this was meant to be some kind of physical puzzle, where we were meant to share all of the images across each other and put them together to create one big image.
Dude, I can only imagine the blood pressure spike, the heart rate racing when you look at your DMs and you see, like, well, it's not the Playtime Co account, but something similar to the whatever that account specifically has DM'd you a part of the ARG. Like, that's got to be so invigorating. Holy shit.
So as everyone shared and put the images together, long story short, they all combined to create this beast that looks a bit confusing but has a few things attached to it. First, we see some kind of human anatomy thing here. Then we see this tube machine here, which actually looks like this mechanism that was seen in the last ARG VHS tape. We see whatever this metal wheel and axle is here, and of course, most obviously, there is this quote and a bunch of numbers around it. First off, regarding the quote, it reads, "By the glimmer of the half-extinguished light, I saw the dull yellow eye of the creature open," which is a quote from the extremely famous novel Frankenstein, specifically the revised version that was created in 1831.
Marie Shelley.
Number 1831 here. Now,
Long
I'm
ass
sure you
story.
guys know who Frankenstein is. They created this strange strange monster out of various body parts that obviously holds heavy resemblance to Poppy Playtime's lore.
The prototype.
Where the scientists created their own monsters out of toy body parts. So that's pretty cool, but what do we do about all of these other numbers scattered around the image? Well, the first thing people noticed about them is that they're all bunched up into little individual sections. The top left has a 5, 7, and 26, since the 2 and 6 are right next to each other. The middle right features a 5, 6, and 47. The bottom left features a 5, 6, and 44. And the bottom right features a 5, 1, and 18. Now, putting all of these numbers together, while it took forever to figure out, people discovered that this was meant to be a book cipher.
Oh,
which,
in the
while
book.
It can be done in a lot of different ways. A book cipher is essentially the process of taking the text of a book and encoding the message inside of it by using a set of numbers as essentially coordinates to specific letters or words. For instance, if we take the first set of numbers here, 5, 7, and 26, and open up the 1831 version of the actual Frankenstein novel, we can use the first number set, 5, to tell us to go to chapter 5 of the book, the second number set, 7, to tell us to go to the 7th paragraph in the book, and use the third number set, 26, to select the 26th word in the paragraph, giving us the word Y. Next, we simply have to do the same thing for the other 3 sets of numbers, all of which happen to take place in chapter 5, by the way, and we get Why fear the infinite. Combining this phrase together, and amazingly, we can use it as the password for the zip file from earlier. Upon opening the zip, we are given an empty file named Reap What You Sow that cannot be opened because it has no extension at the end of it.
.png.
Like we did with the Lullaby Room file from the first ARG update, if we simply add our own extension to it, being PNG in this case, we can still actually open it and get an image here showing somebody filming inside of the labs and a sensor bar here covering something up. Now, like what we did with the past 2 updates, if we stretch this image out and brighten it up, quickly you can see that there is a video ID hiding inside of the censored bar that, when slapped to the end of a YouTube link, will bring us to another brand new VHS tape for chapter 5 named Restricted Salvation.
Maybe I'm being a little too egotistical right now, but I think, and I know these are meant to be community served things. I know the community as a whole, thousands of people are supposed to come together and solve these things. I would love to try and figure these things out on my own one day. Obviously, I would need a lot more time than what I have right now. But like, if I'm ever go like full time, it would be so cool to get this situated and actually learn how to do this stuff, because I'm kind of getting the feel for a little bit of it, so we'll see.
It's just absolutely insane when breaking it down. So when
What's up, Stacey?
the tape, which takes place on August 18th of 1995, we are essentially watching the aftermath of the previous restricted condemnation tape from the last update that featured scientists Dr. Jessica Newman and Preston Willard hiding from the monsters after the Hour of Joy. And while we saw in that tape they got ambushed by Huggy Wuggy and Preston abandoned Jessica to get attacked by the red furry monster.
It was pretty slow. Now that I'm looking at it, it was a pretty slow attack. Like, it could very well be just him grabbing him and saving him.
This new tape, we actually get to see the same incident from the perspective of Jessica Newman, who in this tape is searching for her lost coworker.
Preston?
While searching around, she comes across a dead Braun toy who is assumed to be
ripped in half.
The Thomas Clark experiment from a earlier restricted tape that Jessica Newman actually logged and worked on, so super cool reference. But she pushes forward, and after entering this room and exploring a bit, which also appears to be this room from a previous chapter 5 screenshot, by the way, she looks up to see 2 glowing eyes from an unknown beast looking down at her, assumed to be Catnap, as we saw him escape in the first VHS tape. She quickly leaves this room and continues on her journey for Preston, at least until she reaches the stairs.
What attacks with flashes?
She is attacked by something loud.
What attacks with the flashes? I don't get it. Oh, there's just alarms. Okay, it wasn't actually anything specific. Slipping on the
She
blood.
falls over, and we see the thing that attacked
Oh,
her
it was the prototype,
none
duh.
other than the prototype.
Duh.
She looks up to see the beast, who notably has only one glowing eye, unlike the other monster seen earlier, and they have a conversation.
Doctor Noon.
Dude, so cool.
Now, Doctor, we must.
Isn't that right?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please.
That's funny. You're the
Second person.
I've met today.
said. The other was my
Good friend, Preston.
Dude, what a fucking crazy cool design. I love his voices. Oh, whoever thought of that, congratulations to you. Give yourself a pat on the back. Now that we've talked about this a couple times already, he says Preston said what he said about the I'm sorry thing. Does that mean because you fear maybe he would be alive then? Because if the prototype has heard from this dude, he probably wanted to confirm that he's dead. I don't know. But let's back it up. Because he's got it. He 100% would have killed Preston if he was in front of him. There's no way.
The other was my
Good friend, Preston.
Preston was
Always.
nice to me. You were never very nice.
Where are you?
Dr. Newman.
He could be lying.
She
The prototype doesn't strike me as somebody. Wow. The prototype doesn't strike me as somebody who would lie.
Is killed by the prototype. In the next shot, we are in the labs with 1006, who says,
I'm so glad you were there when I needed you.
Preston, now I can be there for you.
Always.
as he places a horrifying doll of who is presumed to be Preston Willard turned into a toy amalgamation, and then the prototype walks away.
Okay, well, shit. I mean, does it have to be Preston? Could it not be the girl? I'm confused. But yeah, I don't know. The prototype wouldn't lie. Like, he wouldn't, like, pretend to be somebody that's, like, a young friend of ours with, like, a really soft-spoken voice and, like, lie to us or anything like that. The prototype would never lie. So, Ollie is literally one of the biggest lies, Kritur? No, he wouldn't do that. I realized my sarcasm was missed. After Chapter 5, I'm fully confident that Jessica's a Cappy toy at the end of the third ARG video. I don't think... Which Cappy toy? It doesn't have to be. It could be a classic misdirection. Yeah, it could just be... I mean, we just need to get all the info we can. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to think about whether or not he's actually dead. But in that specific moment, why would the prototype want to misdirect there? He's going to kill her. Like, what is the need to misdirect somebody who you're going to murder? Preston could be Giblet. That's what Squid was talking about earlier. Because he has the voice lines of, like, I'm not a hero, and he's very sulky about his heroicness and all that stuff. But I say that because of Mrs. Gracie becoming Lily. I don't know. I don't remember what Cappy toy at the end of. Are you talking about this one? Wait, that's not a Cappy. You're talking about this one.
Toy amalgamation, and then the prototype walks.
It's just an amalgamation of, like, things he's experimented on. What's up, Skull? Welcome on in. I don't know. Dude, I'm thinking about this now. I wish Chapter 5 gave us more. Chapter 5 gave us just nothing. It gave us nothing. This coming year, we should pay attention to the upcoming JRG as it comes out. I'd be down. It's just a lot harder to make a video out of it. So, like, if we're paying attention to it as it comes out, like, I had to hold on to the bits and pieces. And it's a more prolonged video, whereas this is just a very, well, it was supposed to be like an hour and a half long video. It's going to be like 3 hours now because I got to edit out a bunch of shit. But still. I'd be down to pay attention a little bit more. I just wish Chapter 5 gave us a bit more than it gave us. And by a bit more, I mean a lot more, because damn.
The end of the tape with a message saying, "See you soon." Now, this is an absolutely chilling VHS that essentially shows the prototype hunting down Jessica, specifically because she wasn't nice to him while the factory was functioning, hence why he killed her. But also we see what happened to Preston's body after the last VHS tape, where he presumably survived since the prototype said he talked to him. And I guess for his generosity while he worked there, the prototype prototype chose to turn him into this doll. And for one, this is absolutely disturbing and disgusting. It gives me chills just looking
It's so
at this
fucked.
cat-beheaded beast. But two, this
You're just
finally
stuck there
100%
forever.
confirms that the prototype knew how to recreate experiments. They heavily teased it in the prototype's cinematic trailer, but now we know for sure. Another interesting thing about the prototype that I've seen a few people mention in this tape is that, like I said, we can see that he only has one eye, judged from the glowing single eye we see up here, which has led to a lot of comparisons to this pumpkin that we saw from the Chapter 5 Halloween art, which also interestingly only has one eye.
Oh, it was
Suggesting
him.
This could be the prototype's face revealed right in front of us months earlier.
It is him. That is his fucking face. Oh my god, dude. The people are so smart. Yo, Scott with the 40 stream streak. Happy to have you, buddy. I appreciate you. Kritur, I think you have something in your hair. Is it out? Interesting. Dude, that's actually really cool that it's like that. It's actually super accurate to what he
Another
is.
thing you might have noticed that a lot of people have been pointing out is that
Got
when
it?
Jessica
Cool.
is talking to the prototype, she mentions the name Leith Pierre, which has led to some people theorizing that she was calling him Leith Pierre, and that this confirms that the prototype is Leith.
I thought the same thing.
Now, we know that this actually isn't true because, for one, Leith and the prototype were separately alive for a decent chunk of the timeline, and for two, I actually got confirmation of what Jessica actually said, and in the transcript, it actually seems more like she's blaming Leith Pierre and not calling the prototype Leith Pierre, so I wanted to clear that out. Now,
Yeah, it's definitely whenever she's like he and she starts to blame and she realizes like trying to shift blame into this thing, the prototype who pretty much knows everything is a dumb idea. It's a dumb play. Like you don't try and bullshit somebody who's been there through the entire thing. A few theorists also guessed correctly that prototype would be a jester too. I did see some people mentioning that because of his shenanigans. For the record, the prototype would definitely lie to us and try and bullshit us. That's his whole thing with the Ollie stuff. That's how you kind of meet him in the first place. I do know that. At least I'm not that dumb. I promise. But I did see some people saying that his jester fit really well because he's constantly toying with us. Like his whole thing is just. His whole thing is constantly bullshitting us and tricking us, trying to deceive us between who we can and can't trust, where we can hide, where he thinks we know, what we think he knows versus what he actually knows. Like he's just very much fitting to a jester. So I like the videos that I've seen that have popped up on my YouTube Shorts and TikTok explaining why his character design is so good, because I do think out of everything that Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 has done, the prototype, while some people probably hate it, I think the prototype was fucking knocked out of the park. They did really good with that.
While all of this is already a ton of information about 1006 and what happened after the Hour of Joy, things actually go deeper because there are a few various secrets hiding inside of this tape that reveal some interesting things. Like, for instance, at one point in the tape, we could see that in the labs, there is a sign called the Aquarium Prep Room.
That would be the big room we saw with all the really gross goo. Do we ever figure out what all the gross goo is? All that pink, oranges. It's like a really pretty color. No joke. If you forget that it's like probably actual human tissue or something like that they're growing. That's not the serum, right? To fix everything, or to, what is it? The anti-solution? I forget what it's called.
Which obviously seems to suggest that in Chapter 5, there is going to be some kind of aquariums, or more interestingly, aquatic-based characters. This would make sense, since we learned a few months ago through a trademark leak that there is a character that'll be in the game named Chum Chompkins, Chum being a kind of fish meat. So it's...
I really hope Chum Chompkins turns into something really iconic of a character, and he has a very big part in Chapter 5. That would be awesome. I hope he just doesn't become like a high and by character. That would be boring. The reanimation gel serum. Okay, so it's the stuff that keeps the goo to keep the kids alive when they become toys. Gotcha. It's why they can't die. It's like the lifeblood of the toys. It's like it is the what's it called? From the FNAF. Oh, the silver stuff. Oh my god. fuck, dude, I'm gonna be here for a minute, dude. No, I have to get this. Stimulant? No, it's not the stimulant. It's a life force. It's that silver liquid. No, I don't want to be here this long. I'm sorry you have to watch this, chat. Fuck. You guys are going to sit here with me for a bit. Or you guys can all leave. I don't know, but I got to think of this. No way. I'm going to fuck this. Oh, I give up. Remnant. Fuck, it's Remnant. I was close. Dude, my head was hurting for that shit. I was trying my absolute fucking best. Oh my god, Mercury, metallic liquid is Mercury. It was from the FNAF stuff. The Remnant is their life force. Old age is getting to me. Relax over there with that shit. What the fuck? Hell no. Who do you think you are? I am. Part of the issue people have is because they have been building up their own image of the prototype, and in fact, its design was spoiled a few days beforehand. So when it came out that it was real, it pissed a lot of them off because it didn't meet their self-made expectations for the 5 years of making what the prototype looks like. I'm going to go ahead and say this right here, right now. This might be very brave of me to say. It might not be, honestly, probably a little bit less of opinion. People who spoil stuff suck. Yeah, I know. I said it. Clip me. Cancel me. Go ahead, cancel me. Go ahead, cancel. Woke can try and cancel me right now if they want to. But I believe spoilers suck. I want somebody who, like the serial spoilers, as I like to call them, I want them to be dissected and experimented on so we know exactly why they do what they do. Why are you such a piece of shit? And how can we utilize this to learn more about pieces of shit just like you? Experiment on them, Poppy Playtime. FNAF people, take them. No? Why not? What's wrong with experimenting on humankind? All right, we're going on.
Already believed fish characters will be in the game, and this could confirm that there are water areas inside of it that'll likely contain them.
Nope.
It sounds absolutely crazy, and I don't know how or why they'd have this here, but I guess I'm interested to see. Another secret worth mentioning is
like
that
warm
throughout
drool.
some of the glitches in the tape, there are a few messages that can be found. Like, for instance, in a couple glitches, we could see the words, "What you seek, you shall never find," which is something that we've actually heard before in an earlier ARG. Then there's this message that appears to simply say, "Our words of the week," which I can't really find much of a reason for. I can only guess that maybe it's referencing the aforementioned phrase saying that these were the words of the week, but I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know in the comments below. And most notably, we see this message here that reads, "We are two of a kind," which to me sounds like it's meant to be a message from the prototype to Poppy. Since throughout their encounters together in the game, the prototype has referred to Poppy and himself as we, as if they were both special experiments in their own way. Poppy obviously being the perfect experiment in one of the originals, while the prototype is a little bit more of an unknown.
I hope they don't mesh Poppy and the prototype together, because Poppy was essentially the experiment that got everything started and got the ball rolling for all the other toys to become what they are. Because blaming Poppy for that would be insane, right? To say like she's the reason that everything happened just because she was the first experiment would be so like that the epitome of victim blaming, because she doesn't want to fucking be there either. So I hope that's not what it all comes down to. Because to me, that would be some, as I say often, bibble babble bullshit. So, Chapter 6 of Poppy Playtime is just Subnautica, but in the pink goo. Ew. Actually, I don't said that out loud. It's
So that'll be cool to hopefully learn more about in the chapter. Something I will point out though is that recently there was a game theory video released about Poppy Playtime that's been getting some buzz because they theorized that the prototype might have been the precursor to Poppy and was made to test out how the experiments work before making them. So maybe the prototype saying him and Poppy are two of a kind is more fuel for this theory. Another secret slash glitch that I've seen going around is that at the end of the
she could have been experiment number 1007, but she could have been also the first one to work. You could have had 1006 die before her, or as some places often do, and this happens a lot with blueprints and general prints for, I don't know, just how some businesses like to do, I don't know, some businesses have to do the paperwork this way, where 1007 doesn't necessarily mean there's 1006 before. It could just be 6 before. It could be like segment 1 and then 006, whatever. That was confirmed actually in chapter 5 that Poppy was 1000. We know the prototype is 1006. Is it confirmed that the other ones lived and worked? Or is it confirmed, Or is there a chance that they were the first ones to actually work? But and like I said, starting with 1 could be like year 1, experiment 6, and then if it goes to like the next year, like year 2 experiment. You know, I'm not saying that's necessarily it, but there are placeholders for certain numbers where it doesn't necessarily mean that it is 1,000 or whatever. We also that there was 800 something on the desk of the OG. Maybe I'm stepping into territory of stuff that's like very obviously not true or whatever else. But like I said, I still hope that isn't the same, because the prototype could be confirmed. Prototype, although he's before Poppy could be the groundbreaking experiment for getting them into the toys as perfectly as Poppy was. So he's called the prototype because he was the first successful one. That makes sense. That obviously makes sense. Yeah, duh. That's kind of duh obvious in retrospect. But Poppy could be the first thing that like really let them utilize that experiment in specific ways as detailed as Poppy could be. So what I'm trying to say is prototype was an amalgamation, right? Or he's got like a bunch of different parts. Prototype is not as clean cut as Poppy is when it comes to the final product. So Poppy could have been the groundbreaking one for all that stuff. So
tape, we see the prototype walk across the labs and place the Preston body, but over in the back, it looks like there's some kind of object here that quickly jumps to the right, almost like it's teleporting, and then falls down. I don't know if this is meant to be some kind of subtle character tease or if this was just a physics glitch, but yeah, that's pretty interesting. The biggest secret that's been found in this tape by far, though, is that throughout it, there are various numbers laying around, and there are a ton of them. It took like an hour to find all of them out, but going throughout the tape, there is a 5, a 14, a 4, a 15, a 6, a 20, 8, 5, 18, 15, 16, 5, and a 3, 15, and 13 at the end. Now, taking all of these numbers, this is a pretty simple numbers to letters code that can be decoded by just converting every number with their place in the alphabet, which when doing so gives us this string of words reading end of the rope com, which using some common sense, people figured out was a website endoftherope.com. And after trying a
common sense ain't so common,
specifically this one with dashes in between the words, finally we could put it into a browser and reach a real site that when entering says, "Thank you for playing," marking the end of the ARG, but giving us a countdown to some mysterious thing taking place next Wednesday with a background of Chapter 5. Now, first off, the countdown is more than likely the countdown to the Chapter 5 gameplay trailer, since we still don't have one yet, and just what else would it be for if the ARG is officially over? While looking at the background, we see some kind of in-game screenshot of a Chapter 5 location featuring a bunch of poppy gel everywhere, the footsteps of the prototype, which would be quite eerie to see around as we explore, an Omni hand scanner, which obviously means that'll be returning, and overall, it's just a cool look at another environment that'll feature in the game. They even hid a little cute "thank you for playing" over here in the bottom right corner. Now, following this, Seeing Reason did come back one more time to say somebody was knocking on their door in someone's DMs, and that's pretty much it for them, so you can make up your own story on what happened to them. Although, even though this marks the end of the ARG, I'm still left with one major question. Who in the world ever was Seeing Reason? They seemed like an important character, especially since they alluded to the idea that they were actually inside of the factory, yet we never learned who they are or where they were. The only theory I've seen that makes any lick of sense is that one album we got from the ARG that was sent to us by Seeing Reason was uploaded by an account named CatBeFan, who was supposedly a child of somebody who died in Playtime Co. And we saw that PW's head anyway was replaced by a CatBe doll, leading to the theory that if this account is Seeing Reason, they could have maybe been the daughter of PW. But honestly, I'm not sure, and we'll probably just have to wait and see. And that's pretty much everything. There are a couple things that I didn't mention in this compilation, like that in this last teaser, it looks like we might be able to see some kind of character looking through the window. That's what most people think anyway, believing it might be another tease of that weird red character, and that all of the files in this video are given very specific dates, which are put on screen right now. That might mean something, but we're not sure. However, again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's much else I can add to that. We've talked about our theories as time was going on, and we've kind of come to this point where chapter 5, although some stuff did happen, not as much really went on as we could have probably hoped for. So it is what it is. Chapter 6 will be next, and we'll get on with that soon. So, well, that is officially it for what we have here for Poppy Playtime Chapter 5's ARG, and per usual, another ARG that blew my mind. This one's obviously a lot longer, over a longer period of time, but seeing a big company like this really invest themselves into an ARG that spanned weeks at a time, what as deep as to DMing people on Discord, like that's a really cool thing to see. It's definitely a part of ARGs that I haven't experienced yet. So looking forward, I would definitely want to be more involved in stuff like this. Definitely more in the moment when it comes to videos being released, or paying attention to what the new stuff is, how these videos are done. I've watched the VHS tapes, but I didn't think anything else came out of them. So I don't know. We'll look forward to more of that stuff in the future. But for now, if you guys enjoy the content, please consider leaving a like and a comment on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Big shout out to the members of the community and the chatters up above. The extra support you guys provide means oh so very much to me. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until next, my friends. Peace.